Hi guys, welcome back. I've got a review of a power supply I picked up today. I thought I'd unbox it together and show you what it's like and have a little look at it and see whether it's worth buying. So the box itself came like this, and it wasn't in a separate box from Amazon. I was a bit surprised because as soon as you open the box I expected another box, but it isn't just so, it's just in one skin. A bit surprised by that, but I don't know whether whose fault that is. Comes with an instruction manual. And this one is I can't pronounce that, encoder, as that's called. Yeah, DC power supply, switching power supply. Comes in two variants. The one I got was the 10 amp version, 30 volt 10 amp. But it comes with a second one where it's got some more buttons on. Exactly the same, apart from looks like you can store some memories. Not interested in that. So summary, breakdown of product view and parameters, specs. 350 watt. Is that 350 watt? Is that 300 watt? 300 watt at 10 amp. So it looks like 320 watt is the maximum they'll do. Sorry, actually 360 watt. Let me just put my other glasses on. The writing's quite small. 300. So there's a version which goes to 0 to 120 watt, not 300 milliamps. So you got a 200 milliamp, a 300 milliamp, 500 milliamp, 10 amp, and 5 amp. I've got the 10 amp, and mine goes to 300 watt. The 5 amp version goes to 300 watt, and all the specs in there anyway. Yeah. Constant state pressure, so I'm not going to really go into all that. What the buttons do. You've got a short circuit protection, or OCP, and you've got an on and off button, so you can actually switch it on and off, but also a separate one where you can switch the power on and off to the circuit. And the rest of it's in a different thing. So okay, so it comes with that, which is good. Let's pop that out the road. In the box it looks like you've got, I'm in the UK, so we've got a 3-pin plug and like a kettle plug and a 3-pin plug. I've already got one plugged in the top of there because I wanted to use a right angle one. Yeah. Anything else? Oh, some ways here. Oh, banana clips and bayonet. So you've got like that can go behind the little adjuster, the little screws. Yeah. I think that's it. Let's have a look. Let's pop this out. It's really light. Let's get rid of the box. Well protected, so I assume that it's going to give yourself a little bit of protection with all this, so I'm pleased about that. That's always good. Get rid of them, and it comes in a plastic bag for a little bit more protection. So there's the unit. Very light, small. It's like aluminium, rubber feet, plastic front, metal back. Got 240, we've also got a switch where you can switch it to 110, 240, it's already switched. Always check that to make sure it's in the correct one. There's the model number. Hopefully you can see that. And there's a nice fan there, which is working. Nothing on the top. Nice, some good ventilation. Yeah. Power supply, and then there's the front. Looks pretty nice. I like the look of it straight away. You've got your positive and negative, and it's got a separate earth which is not linked at all, so you can give yourself can do that. And it's also labelled at the bottom, little symbols at the bottom. Then we've got a power button, nice clicky button. Then the output button. So once you've set all your parameters, then you can hit the output and it'll go straight to the terminals. Looks like we've got a USB quick charge. I think it's about 17 watt. After checking the specs, which I actually do a lot of things where I'm having to get like a socket, like a 12 volt socket or whatever for like a phone charger socket, and I can run it off here as well, so that's good for me anyway. And then we've got a voltage and a current, and it says push hold for over protection voltage on and off. Yeah, and then there's a little screen protector there. It says peel here, which I'm going to do. So that's what it says. Satisfying. Should really leave that on, to be honest, but just peel before use. So anyway, that's that. So yeah, looks really good. Fancy, very light. I've got other power supplies. I've got this one, which is 2.5 amp, maximum 30, and again you've got voltage and current on and off, current limiter. Thing with this one, you've got a dedicated 5 volt and a 12 volt, as well as your variable bit. That's a really nice one. I've had this for a long time. I like it. And then over on this side, where you can see, I'll just pan the camera around a little bit. Give me a second. Then I've got this one, which is a Farnell one, stabilized power supply. This goes to 50 volts, but it's only half an amp, and there's 2 channels, so you've got like obviously separate, and there's your earth, positive, negative. You've got a constant, and you can switch to amps and volts and switch it on there. And you've got a course and a fine and a current limiter, which you'll see the current limiter come on and what. You can switch to amps, so you can check that. Don't use that one very often, but sometimes I do need that. It's there, so that's what comes with. That's turned off now, and this one is the same. You can turn the voltage up and the voltage down. Current limiter's on at the minute, so as soon as I turn that, it'll fly up there. You can hear it switching, so there's 12 right up to 30, and then it actually goes to 34, I think. But yeah, this one's good. It's handy because you can just stick a 5 volt or a 12 volt in constant, and then over to the one. So that's handy for that. Okay. These leads, they're not silicon leads. They're just, but they're alright. They do the job. They're soft enough, but they're not silicon. Yeah, they work. So that means you can put these behind these terminals, and then you could have like them as well as banana leads to go in. I'm not going to use them yet, and I won't use the other socket, but I have a 10 amp fuse in there. So what we'll do is we'll plug it in. Plugged in now. I will pop it up here, actually, out the road. That's where I wanted to put it there. And we can just move the camera a little bit to suit. Just a little bit. I don't want to go mental. Yeah, should have to see a thing on that. So let's see if it turns on. Yeah, let's see if it turns on. So you get the power there. Nice beep. Nice screen. Oh, I like the look of the screen. So you can see you got volts, amps, and watts. Which is not needed, but it's there. You know, it's nice to know what you're pulling. So you've got the output. So the minute that's turned to 1 volt. Oh, can we see that? Okay, let me just drop the camera a bit. Just move this round a little bit so you can see a little bit nicer. Yeah. Okay. So this is going to adjust your voltage. Obviously you can go down to 0, but see how click it and click it again, and you can go like 10, 20, 30, and then it goes to that. Yeah. So you'd have like millivolts, 20 millivolts, 50 millivolts, or 500 millivolts. Is that, yeah? That's 500 millivolts, isn't it? Yeah. Half a millivolt, 3/4, and then 1 volt. Like that. Obviously these are setting the parameters where it's not going to go over, so you can set your amps and say I won't go past 60 milliamps or 1 amp. Yeah. And it should go up to 10 amp. 10.2. Yeah. Just say 10 amp. We can test all that. Yeah, so that's why you do that, so you can be quicker. So a bit quicker. Now for the watts, so the USB, and then when I say like I'm not going to go past, so whatever circuit I'm using, whatever power I'm pushing, maximum of 1 volt, but it's not going to go past 1 amp. And then when I do that, it says I've got a constant voltage. There's no output because there's nothing connected up. Yeah, and then you can turn it off. That's quite nice though, because what I do with this one, what I have to do is disconnect it, set everything to say like 3 volts or 4 volts or whatever I'm doing, then turn it off, plug it in, and then I'll switch it on. I don't like doing that because sometimes you get spikes and stuff. Well, this I assume it's, yeah. Then we've got the USB to try and such. I'm wondering whether we could use this to try as well at the same time, to put like a load. This load, can use this load meter too. Now I do know that, give us a second, I'm just going to grab some cables, move that out the road, go and grab some cables, and then we'll run a little test to see what this is like, and I'll put the meter on it and see. So I'll turn that off for now, be back shortly. Right guys, so I've plugged in this load tester. I've got a multimeter plugged in. So what we're going to do is put a load on that to see what happens and whether we can see this tripping out. So I've got that set at 10 volts, but I've got the amps to stop at no more than 2 amps. Yeah. So we're going to switch the multimeter on. Hopefully you can see that. If you can't, I'll bring it a bit closer. I think that should come up on screen. Might be a little bit blurry, I don't know. Oops, ohms, voltage. Sticking on auto voltage. So, and I've also got this powered by a constant 5 off this one. So as soon as I switch this on, this should come alive. Yeah, which is just 5 volts. And as you can see, there's nothing. That's set to the limits, but there's nothing coming out of there now. Let's reset that. Okay, so as soon as I turn this on, that should give us a constant volts of 10 volts, and there you go, it's exactly 10 on there, and exactly, so that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. Fluctuating a little bit, but that's fine. That's perfect. So as soon as I start cranking this, it should go no more than what we set there was 2 amps, wasn't it? So we'll start to bring this up slowly. I don't know if you can see there, but this is the course adjustment on this. I need to do a video of this, guys, so what I'll do is I'll have this load tester. So there you go. So that's half an amp. 420 milliamps, 440 milliamps. Drop down a little bit, which is the resistance in the wires and the cables. These cables are not great. I did want to have it a bit shorter, but that's all I have to get this set up. So hopefully you can see. I don't know if that's glary on there or what, but should I be able to say that? So you can see that we've got 10 volts, 10 volts, 10 volts, or 9.92 volts. That's quite accurate. This is probably about the same type of accuracy as that. And I'm going to use a fan adjuster now to take it up to 500 milliamps. Fan kicks in, 600 milliamps. So leave that 600 milliamps. Voltage is okay. Still 10 volts, still 10 volts, still 10 volts, good enough. 600 milliamps. So that should. So you got constant voltage. As soon as I go up to that 2 amps, so we'll just take it up a bit more. There's 1 amp. 94. 1.047, 1.06. Voltage is still good. Wattage is 10.6 watts. This is saying 10 watts. Oh yeah, 10.53 watts. Yeah, to the ballpark. Happy with that. So let's increase it and see what happens. This should block it, and it should drop off or cut off. This will cut it off anyway. So it's not that cutting it off. This will cut it off. This will stop it, but this actually cuts it off. It's like a battery safe thing. So there's 1.25 amps, 1.3, 3.7, 4, half an amp. Voltage is still good. We've dropped 0.9 on there. Now I'm going to use a fan adjuster to take it up to that 2. So according to that, 1.82, 1.81, 1.84, 1.85. I'm just going up slowly. There's the 2 amps pretty much there. Voltage has dropped down a little bit. This is where it's going to, that should change and go to red and stop the amps going anymore. But the problem is this will cut off, I think. So 1.91. It's really, there you go, there's your 2 amps. So we run that 2 amps, 1.99, 2 amps. There you are, constant. So it's cut off there. It's not giving us any more. Voltage is switching off now because this is switching off. Just drop it down a tad. And that should go back to like a constant. Yeah, pretty good. What I need to do now is just test how accurate that is. Now 9.881 just says 10. I don't know how good this is, but it's in the ballpark as well. Yeah, what more can I say? We draw 19.24 watts. That says 19.8. 22 centigrade on that. 9.98. 9.99. Can't really grumble with that. I'll stick the oscilloscope on, and then we've got another level of accuracy. We'll see how that goes. So I'll just connect that up. So we've got 10 volts set, constant voltage, 2 amps, forget about that, 10.1 volts on this. You can see that. And the oscilloscope, I'll just turn this off a second. So turn that off. Everything goes off, that's just residual. That drops down, as you can see, down to the baseline. It's still giving us a 1.4 peak to peak, 1.4 volts peak to peak, because of the noise on the line. These cables, I don't know what they're like. I should really have the oscilloscope connected directly to there, and this everything might be making a little bit of noise. So you can see it's down to the baseline there. Once I turn it on, that should jump back up to 10, around about 10. So it's triggered it, caught it there. 10.6, 1.8 volts peak to peak, just over 10, and that's 10. It's quite noisy, so it's going to be recording the top end. So I'm just going to put a capacitor on these leads to see whether that signal dies down a little bit. You can see it, but it's quite noisy. It's actually not bad, but you can still see it. If I stop that there, you can see a few little bits there. But overall it's not bad. So popping this capacitor on should. There you go, look at the difference. I don't want you to see that. Let me just focus. See if it focuses on there. You can see it's bouncing around a bit. I might have to change the display. 10%, 20%, 100%. Wait, you can see it there. Let's go back. Oh, can you see that? It's a glare off the. Okay, so you can see 10.7 volts. Pop this capacitor on, electrolytic one. Just keep watching. Off, on. So it's going to smooth out that noise a little bit. And also the peak to peak's gone to 1 volt. And then if you take it off, we go to 1.8. So you nearly need another voltage, another volts. Half of that. That's why the reading's off a little bit. So yeah, now when we turn that off, it should drop down to 200 millivolts, 0 millivolts. That's still counting down, coming down. Yeah, it's flushing between 200 millivolts. Just be the stuff left in there. 400 millivolts, 300 millivolts, and so on. So yeah, what can I say? When I put that on, and then we turn this back on, it's pretty good actually. As soon as I go over that 2 amp, triggers, yeah, and that drops down. This is dropping it down, not that. That just won't let it anymore. So if this wasn't connected, it would just stay at that 2 amp until I changed it on there. So yeah, really happy with that, guys. Looks okay, decent. I haven't tried the USB out yet, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. I'll get my phone and plug it in. It's handy because sometimes you just want that 5 volt. So you could, in fact, I do have just here a USB with one of these. It came with actually this, so it's designed to plug into there, but I can plug that into there, and then we've got a 5 volt, just like I'm using. So I could power this with a different type of banana. I think it can. Oh yeah, you can connect it off the different ones out the front, but yeah, I could do that type of thing. So yeah, I'm pleased with it so far. I'm really happy with it. I'm going to maybe try to smooth out a little bit more, but looking at the power off this as well, so you can get noise off this, noise off that, noise off everything else as well. But yeah, it seems pretty decent for the price, for the money. I've got no problems with it, and I'm only playing around about like sort of 10 volts and things. I just wanted, sometimes I wanted that 10 amp. Very rare, but it's there anyway. Anyway guys, hope you like this little review for this. Seems to work alright for me. I'll use it for a while, see whether there's any problems with it. If there is no problems, I will leave a comment below later on in maybe 6 months time or something like that, and let you know whether it's still working. Yeah. Alright guys, catch you next one. Thanks for watching.